Hello everyone, I wanted to film a comparison between the Logitech G403 and the Razer Mamba Tournament Edition because I've had my Razer Mamba for a few years now and I've had several issues with it over the years that the Logitech G403 has so far addressed, and I thought it'd be cool if I could compare the two as they are pretty much almost identical in form, but there's just some key differences that make the Logitech G403 better, in my opinion, than the Razer Mamba. Now, the Mamba, over time, has given me several issues with the sensor in it, and nothing I've done has been able to fix it, such as the mouse sensor skips randomly, and sometimes just drags behind, and it's like a piece of dust is in the sensor, but I've cleaned it several times very thoroughly, and it's just not, it can't be dust at this point. And if you Google Razer Mamba sensor issues, a lot of people seem to have the same issues I did, so I'm not sure if it's just a problem with the manufacturing of the Razer Mamba, but that's just one big issue I had with it. Also, the rubber side grip that the Razer Mamba has fell off after about a year. And it's not that I don't grip it especially hard, I just play normally, and the side grip fell off. I had to glue it back on, and it sometimes just starts to slide off from a little bit of pressure. And the G403 addresses this because the entire piece, there's no rubber grip. This is just kind of like, it's rubbery material, but it's integrated into the mouse itself, so it's not really going to slide off and fall off like it did on the Mamba. And also, the side buttons are clickier. One issue I do have with the G403 is that the side buttons just protrude out so far from the side, while these are somewhat flush with the side of the mouse itself. And I like the way that the Mamba clicks on the side better than I like how the Logitech G403 does. If you can hear that, it's a much more clicky on the G403 than on the Mamba. And also, the G403 has like individual clickers for the left or right click, while the Mamba, it's just integrated into the mouse, which is really nice design choice for the Mamba. I like that a lot. Like, you see how there's no seam here, and here there is a seam? I just feel like the Mamba does that very well, and I wish the G403 had that as well, because that would make this mouse very good in my opinion. Also, if you really like lighting, the obvious choice for you is the Razer Mamba, as well, there's really no comparison in lighting between the G403 and the Mamba. Also, I can't seem to get the camera focused for whatever reason. There we go. Okay. The Mamba has RGB strips along the side, and the camera can't really pick up the colors, but it's just, the G403 really doesn't compare, which that's really not, that important in a mouse. It doesn't perform any better than the G403 does because it has better lighting. But it's just cool, I don't know. Also, specifications about each mouse. The Mamba is said on the box to be about 130 grams, while the G403 is 90 grams, unless you add the removable weight in the bottom, which makes it 100 grams. So if you like a lighter mouse, the G403 is the choice for you. Also, the G403 is slimmer than the Mamba. I'm not sure how well you can see that on the video, but holding it, it's just much slimmer than the Razer Mamba. Also, the Logitech G403 is slightly shorter than the Mamba. So really, if you like a smaller mouse, you should go with the Logitech G403. And also, we'll just get a side view of each one. I'd say that the hump is slightly more pronounced on the G403. Like, the drop off at the end there kind of forces the mouse into your palm, as this is more sloped. Like, the back of the Mamba is more sloped, and the G403 is just like a drop off. The G403 sits more firmly into your palm than does the Mamba. And just, I don't know, the cord for the G403 is 2 meters, and the cord for the Mamba is 2.1 meters, so it's not really that much of a difference, and I don't think that gives either mouse a edge over the other. Also, another thing is that as of filming this video, the Mamba is about $20 more expensive than the G403, when so far I've liked the G403 more than I've liked the Mamba. because the G403, the sensor, for one, hasn't given me any issues yet, whereas the Mamba did give me issues very quickly. But just, the G403 is a more simplistic mouse. Okay, actually, I just remembered something. So, the wheel of the mouse wheel sticks out much further on the G403 than it does on the Mamba. And that's one complaint I have. And also, the mouse wheel is just, I don't know if you hear that, but it's very loud when compared to the very silent, nice gel feeling of the Razer Mamba. That is one thing I can say good that the Razer Mamba does well. And also, like, there's like a little divot for the mouse wheel, where on this it's just more built into the actual mouse. And also, I don't see the point in a DPI button, so I went and unbound it, so that button just does nothing now, because I don't see why you'd want to change your DPI randomly, unless you just don't like opening the software to change it. I like how the Mamba doesn't really have a DPI button. These are different functions. So yeah, the mouse wheel on the Mamba is much better, but the sensor for the G403 just is so much better. Now, as for the bottom of the mice, the Logitech G403 is much more simplistic and sleek, whereas the Razer just has all this product information. I don't know if I'm not supposed to show the serial number. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. So yeah, I don't really care. But yeah, so you can see the difference in design, like the difference in shape of the Mamba and the G403. The G403 is much slimmer and less pear-shaped than the Mamba, and also the Mamba has like the rectangular front, while this has the more curved front. And I'll show you guys the front of each one in a second. One thing that I did not mention was I did mention it, but I didn't show it, was the removable weight. So there's a little compartment on the bottom of the G403 that it has this weight in it, and you can remove the weight, but I'm not going to remove it right now. But you can imagine what this is like without a weight in it. And this adds 10 grams to the mouse. So that's a pretty cool feature that the Razer Mamba does not have. So if you like a light mouse or a slightly heavier mouse, you can add this weight. And also, I guess I should have mentioned how they slide on the mouse pad. They're both pretty much the same, except the Razer Mamba kind of drags a little bit more. But yeah, and they move fine. There's not that big of a difference between the two, except for the fact that the Razer Mamba sensor kept messing up, and it just made it unenjoyable to use. So yeah. So here we are with the front sides of each mouse. The Razer Mamba is more grooved to help your fingers stay, I guess, within the clicking part of the mouse. And the G403, actually the G403 has more of a groove, where this has more of like a flat surface with more of a lip at the end to keep your fingers where they should be. And also, the Mamba goes for the style points with the vents type thing. I can't click it to focus, but it has like vents on the front, which I guess that's just to look cooler, while this just has nothing, which I don't think that's really much of a con for the mouse. It's just you're not going to be looking at this part of the mouse. There it is in the light. Yeah, so that's just more of an aesthetic choice, whether you like it or not. But the clicking on the Mamba is so much better, in my opinion, than the G403, but that's not really much of a con, because the G403 still is a great mouse with a proper working sensor. But if you listen to the clicking on the Mamba and then on the, it's just, this clicking is much more sharp, and this is, maybe it's just because the G403 is new, I just got it, and the Mamba has been used by me for years. But the clicking on the Mamba, as of these two mice, is better, but not saying it's better doesn't really mean that this is necessarily bad. It just means that I prefer this more over this, but I'm still using the G403. I'm not using the Mamba anymore because the sensor just is bad. So yeah, so in summary, the Logitech G403 is lighter, slimmer, and less likely to have a part fall off than the Mamba. But the Mamba has a good mouse wheel, some good lighting, and some satisfying clicks. Also, the G403 is about $20 cheaper than the Mamba, So the G403 really is a good choice, and I do not regret it. And I hope you will make a choice based off of this video. Thanks for watching.